Welcome everyone. Today's lecture is on antiadrenergic drugs, which are also known as sympatholytics. Antiadrenergic drugs means these are the drugs which mainly act by inhibiting, preventing, or blocking the actions at adrenergic receptor, that is alpha receptors and beta receptor. On simple words, they are going to antagonizes the actions generated at alpha adrenergic receptors and beta adrenergic receptors. Why they are called as the sympatholytics means they are going to interrupt the sympathetic stimulation. Learning objective. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to classify alpha and beta blockers, explain pharmacological actions of alpha blockers, discuss clinical uses and adverse effects of alpha blocker, explain pharmacological actions of beta blocker, discuss clinical uses and adverse effects of beta blockers, and describe mechanism of action, types, doses, side effect, indication, and contraindication of antiadrenergic drugs. This is study about antiadrenergic drugs. The various synonyms are adrenergic receptor antagonists or sympatholytics. Okay, so these are the drugs which antagonizes the receptor action of adrenalines and related drugs, and they are the competitive antagonists at alpha receptors as well as at beta receptor, or they are going to competitively antagonizes both alpha and beta adrenergic receptors. So these anti-adrenergic drugs, they are of two types, that is alpha blockers and beta blockers. Alpha blockers is also known as alpha adrenergic blocking drugs or alpha adrenergic antagonists. Okay, so what these drugs are going to do is they are going to block the adrenergic responses mediated through the alpha adrenergic receptor without affecting those mediated through beta receptor. So, in simple words, they are going to antagonize or block the alpha adrenergic receptors only without affecting the beta receptors. Next is beta blocker, which is also known as beta adrenergic blocking drugs or beta adrenergic antagonists. So what these drugs are going to do is they are going to inhibit the adrenergic responses mediated through the beta receptors. That means they are going to antagonize, inhibit, or block the beta adrenergic receptors only. And they are not going to affect the alpha receptors. So first we will discuss about the alpha adrenergic blocking drugs or alpha blocker. So what they are going to do, in the name itself it is given that they are going to block the alpha adrenergic receptors. Classification, they are classified into two main categories. The first one is non-equilibrium type and the second one is equilibrium type. Non-equilibrium type, only one example is there according to the chemical structure, that is beta haloalkylamine, that is phenoxybenzamide. And second category is equilibrium type. So that means they are the most competitive antagonists, which is further classified into non-selective, alpha 1 selective, and alpha 2 selective. Non-selective is further classified into four categories. The first one is ergot alkaloid, example ergotamine, ergotoxin. Second is hydrogenated ergot alkaloid, example dihydroergotamine, dihydroergotoxin. Third one is imidazoline, example phentolamine. And fourth one is miscellaneous, example chlorpromazine. Second category under equilibrium type is alpha 1 selective. That means they are going to selectively block the alpha 1 receptors only. Example prazosin, terazosin, doxazosine, alfuzosin, tamsulosin. Okay. Next is alpha 2 selectives. That means they are going to selectively block the alpha 2 receptors only. Example is kirhimbine. So first we will study what are the general effect of alpha blocker. So what alpha blocker is going to do means they are going to block the alpha receptors, due to which these drugs are going to decreases the sympathetic tone of blood vessels, that will lead to decrease in the peripheral vascular resistance, and that will lead to a condition that is known as postural hypertension, which is also known as orthostatic hypertension, and that will be equal to syncope, that is fainting. What is postural hypertension means? That is a form of low blood pressure which happen when standing up, when you are standing up from a sitting position or lying down. So you are going to feel some dizziness, lightheadedness. So that is known as postural hypertension, which is also known as orthostatic hypertension. Second is that these drugs are going to cause us reflex tachycardia. That means increase in the heart rate. And this increase in the heart rate is occurring in response to a stimuli, that is due to fall in BP. So due to fall in BP, these drugs will cause us increase in heart rate. That is known as reflex tachycardia. Third is this drugs is going to cause us nasal stiffness and miosis. That is decrease in the size of the pupil. Next is that these drugs will increases the intestinal motility, so due to which loose motion may occur. These drugs also reduces the glomerular filtration rate, due to which sodium retention and expansion of blood volume. Next is that the tone of smooth muscle in bladder, trigone, sphincter, and prostate is reduced by the blockade of alpha-1 receptors. So next we will study in detail the pharmacology of phenoxybenzamine, which is a non-equilibrium type, phentolamine, equilibrium type, prazosin, that is alpha-1 selective, yohimbine, alpha-2 selective in a comparison way. So let's see the mechanism of action of phenoxybenzamine, which is a non-selective and it is an irreversible and non-competitive alpha blocker. So these are the drugs which non-selectively blocks the alpha receptors, okay, and that too irreversibly. So you can't reverse it, and it is a non-competitive alpha blocker. Along with this, they are also going to cause a partial blockade of serotonergic receptors, histaminergic receptors, and as well as cholinergic receptors. And what action it is going to produce is it is going to prevent the vasoconstriction of peripheral blood vessel that will lead to vasodilation, and thus they are in this way they are going to causes a fall in BP. Next one is that is pentolamine, which is a reversible, competitive, and non-selective alpha blocker. So here it is a competitive, non-selectively it is going to block the alpha receptors, and this blockage can be reversible, and action is same as that of phenoxybenzamine, but it is more safe drug. So what it is going to do means it is also going to prevent the vasoconstrictions of peripheral blood vessels that will lead to vasodilation, and that will lead to decrease in BP. Next, very important is that is prazosin, terazosin, tamsulosin. So what prazosin mechanism of action is that it is highly selective alpha-1 blocker, and having alpha-1 is to alpha-2 selectivity ratio is that 1000 is to 1. So it is highly selective alpha-1 blocker. So it is going to block the alpha-1 receptor only, that to 1000 is its selectivity ratio when compared to alpha-2. So all subtype of alpha-1 receptor, that is alpha-1A, alpha-1B, alpha-1D, so they are also blocked equally. So by blocking this alpha-1 receptors, it is going to decreases the intercellular calcium level that will causes the relaxation of both arterial and venous smooth muscle that will lead to vasodilation, and in this way it is going to decreases the BP. Next is yohimbine mechanism of action is that it is going to causes the selective competitive alpha-2 block. So it is going to selectively block the alpha-2 receptors, and it is having very short duration of action, and along with that it is also going to block the serotonergic receptors. Let's see the adverse effects of phenoxybenzamine, that is postural hypertension, palpitation, inhibition of ejaculation, and reflex tachycardia. Whereas pentolamine is postural hypertension, reflex tachycardia, prazosin and tamsulosin is nervousness, increased heart rate, blur vision, constipation, and adverse effect of yohimbine is anxiety, insomnia, and tachycardia. Next is that is uses phenoxybenzamine. It is effective in the treatment of pheochromocytoma. What is pheochromocytoma means? That is a tumor of medullary cells of adrenal gland. So you are able to see the tumor on adrenal gland. So that is named as pheochromocytoma. And it is also used as nasal decongestant, and it is also used in shock and urinary retention. Next is pentolamine. It is useful in the treatment of Raynaud's disease. So what is Raynaud's disease means? It's a condition in which certain areas of the body will turn cold, numb. So here what is happening means there will be a limit blood supply to finger and toes, due to which they will undergo numbness, cold, and pale. So for the treatment of Raynaud's disease, pentolamine is best drug, and it is also useful in the diagnosis and treatment of pheochromocytoma, and it is also used as a pentolamine induced penile erection therapy for impotence. Prazosin, it is effectively used as an antihypertensive drug, and it is also useful in the treatment of renal disease. And for short term, it can also be used in the treatment of congestive heart failure. It's a condition in which heart will not be able to pump sufficient amount of the blood to meet the metabolic demand of the body. And next is the tamsulosin. The best use of tamsulosin is that it is useful in the treatment of prostate enlargement, that is benign hypertrophy of prostate. So the best drug for the treatment of prostate enlargement is tamsulosin. Next is yohimbine. It is used as an aphrodisiac, that is a sexual stimulant, but it is going to affect only psychologically. So there is no clinical evidence available for its use. So this complete regarding the alpha blocker. So next we will move towards the beta adrenergic blocking drugs or beta blocker. So what these drugs are going to do means these are the drugs which are going to inhibit the adrenergic responses which are mediated through the beta receptors only. So here in the classification we can see that there are two types of classification. So first classification is that it is classified into two types, that is non-selective beta 1 plus beta 2 and karyoselective, that is beta 1. So under non-selective, that means it is going to block both beta 1 and as well as beta 2. It is further classified into three types without intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. Examples are propranolol, sotalol, timolol. Next is with intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. What is intrinsic sympathomimetic activity means? See, these drugs are partially going to show an agonistic action along with the antagonistic action. So only one drug is there, that is pindolol. So pindolol is present with intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. So they are able to antagonize the beta receptors. Next is that they are going to block alpha receptors and as well as beta receptors. So example is labetalol, carvedilol. Okay, so this complete regarding the first category. Second category is karyoselective beta 1. So these are the drugs which is going to mainly act on the heart. Metoprolol, atenolol, acebutolol, bisoprolol, esmolol, betoxolol, ciliprolol, nebivolol. Next, we are going to see the same classification, but according to the generation wise. So here generation wise, they are classified into three generations. The first generation is older, non-selective, that is propranolol, timolol, sotalol, pindolol. Second generation, that is beta 1 or karyoselective. Karyoselective means basically they are going to be effective in heart. They are selective for the heart. Metoprolol, atenolol, acebutolol, bisoprolol, esmolol. Third generation means along with the blocking the beta receptor, they are also going to block the alpha receptor or a vasodilator property. Example is labetalol, carvedilol, ciliprolol, nebivolol, betoxolol. Okay. So we will study first regarding the prototype drug, which is very important, that is propranolol. So propranolol is the prototype drug of beta blocker. So it is a pure non-selective antagonist at the beta adrenergic receptor. It is going to block both beta 1 and beta 2 receptor with similar efficacy. Let's see the mechanism of action. Propranolol blocks both beta 1 and beta 2 receptors. By blocking those receptors, it is going to inhibit the adenylate cyclic enzyme. That will lead to decreased level of cyclic AMP. And that will lead to decreased release of intercellular calcium level and thus decreases the plasma calcium level. And that will lead to the negative chronotropic and inotropic effect. So in this way, the propranolol is going to decreases the heart rate and as well as the force of contraction. Let's see the pharmacological actions of propranolol on heart. Just now we have seen that it is going to decreases the heart rate, that is chronotropic effect, force of contraction, that is inotropic effect, and by decreasing the heart rate, force of contraction, it is going to decreases the cardiac output, that will lead to decrease in BP. Next is that cardiac burden and oxygen consumptions are also reduced. On respiratory tract, it is going to increases the bronchial resistance mainly by blocking the beta 2 receptor. Okay, on respiratory tract, it is going to block the beta 2 receptors. Okay, so due to which the propranolol will precipitate the COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and as well as asthma. On kidney, it is going to block the beta-1 receptor. So that will lead to decrease in the cardiac output, decrease in the renin release, that will lead to decrease in the filtration, and further it will lead to sodium retention. Metabolism is that propranolol is going to alter the metabolism of carbohydrates and lipid, and also it is going to inhibit the glycogenolysis and lipolysis. And on eye, it reduces the secretion of aqueous humor, intraocular tension is lowered, and it can be useful in the treatment of glaucoma. Let's see the adverse effects of propranolol: precipitation of congestive cardiac failure, edema, bradycardia, respiratory, just now we have seen COPD and bronchial asthma, variant angina, exacerbation, tiredness, reduced exercise capacity, cold hands and feet, worsening of peripheral vascular disease. Let's see the therapeutic uses of propranolol is the best drugs in the treatment of hypertension. It is also useful in the treatment of angina pectoris. So here it is going to reduces the chest pain on exertion. Next, in cardiac arrhythmias, here it is going to suppresses the extrasystole and tachycardias. Next, also in the treatment of myocardial infarction, so propranolol is going to have a protective effect on myocardium. Migraine, it is effective in reducing the migraine episode when used prophylactically as a preventively. And next and last one is that anti-anxiety. So it also helpful to reduce the tremor that accompany the psychogenic anxiety. So next we will study about the alpha and beta adrenergic blocker. So these are the drugs which are going to block both alpha and as well as beta adrenergic receptors, and they are going to inhibit their stimulation. Along with this, they're also going to inhibit the neuronal uptake of norepinephrine. So the best example for these drugs are labetalol. So labetalol is the first adrenergic antagonist which is capable of blocking both alpha and beta receptors. So when compared to alpha and beta receptors, it is 5 times more potent in blocking the beta receptors when compared to that of the alpha receptor. So the beta blocking potency of labetalol is about 1/3 that of the propranolol. And while alpha blocking potency of labetalol is about 1/10 of pentolamine. Adverse effects of labetalol is postural hypertension and failure of ejaculation. And labetalol is useful in the treatment of pheochromocytoma, that is the tumor on adrenal gland. And it is especially useful in the treatment of pregnancy-induced hypertension, that is hypertension may occur during pregnancy. And it is also useful in controlling the rebound hypertensions which occur after the clonidine withdrawal. Thank you. So this completes regarding the anti-adrenergic drugs. Thank you.